In this video, we're going to talk about unit rates, specifically involving fractions on both sides of the ratio. There's a couple different ways you can think about them. I'm going to show you a few options, just that way you have, choices. So one thing you could do, it says, at Sugar Shack, customers fill bags with assorted candy. The price of a bag of candy is determined by the number of pounds purchased. So over here it says for a quarter pound of candy, it's going to cost you $2.10. And we want to find the price per pound. Okay. So price per pound means I'm going to take the price divided by the number of pounds. That's one way we could think about it. So we're going to take the price, $2.10, divide it by 1/4. Here's my calculator. So again, this is where the yellow school calculator comes in super duper handy because it has that nice fraction button. So you can do 2.10, so $2.10 divided by this numerator over denominator, that's your fraction button. 1 arrow down, 4th, enter. It's going to be $8.40. So when I see price per pound, I'm going to do price per divide by the number of pounds. One way to think about it. Okay, so the unit rate describes the amount per one. Right? So what is the amount of dollars for every 1 whole pound? Something like that. Or the rate when the denominator is 1. So 27 cents per ounce, so 27 cents for 1 ounce. 40 miles per gallon means 40 miles for 1 gallon of gas or whatever it is. Okay. We're going to visualize a couple other ways to think about that. Okay, so it says Marcus walks 1/3 of a mile in 1/6 of an hour. If he walks at a constant speed, how long will it take him to walk 1 mile? So you could draw it out, do a tape diagram if that is helpful to you. We're going to make it kind of little, so just a little line. So up here I'm going to have the hours, and this label is going to be the miles. So he goes a little bit. He's gone 1/6 of an hour, which means he's also gone 1/3 of a mile. Okay, and I'm going to do that until I have 1 whole mile on the bottom. So I go another again. So another 1/3, this is going to be 2/3 total. Add another 6, that's going to be 2/6. We're going to keep going till you have 1 whole mile because we want to know how long it takes him to walk 1 mile. So add another 1/3, which is 3/3, which is the same as 1 whole. Add another 6, which is 3/6, or 1/2. So I've gotten to 1 whole mile. It took 3/3 and 3/6. So after 1 mile, it's taken him 1/2 of an hour. So you can draw a tape diagram, kind of plot it out if you need to. Okay. So we're going to show you the division way again. I think this is the easiest. At the grocery store, 2/5 of a pound of grapes cost $2. What is the price per pound? So price per pound means I'm going to take the price, so the cost, divided by the number of pounds. So the cost is $2 divided by the number of pounds, 2/5. And I'm going to use my calculator for that. So 2 divided by, click that fraction button. Our numerator is 2. I'm going to arrow down. 5ths, use the right arrow to get out of that fraction, hit enter. And it's going to be $5 per pound. All right. let's talk about a table, because just like the tape diagram, a table could help us. Yours comes pre-labeled, mine did not. So it says, Robert is going on a 2-day canoeing trip with his outdoor adventure group. Robert paddles at a constant speed and travels 3/4 of a mile in 15 minutes. So we're gonna fill in this table. So after 15 minutes, he's gone 3/4 of a mile. So I'm gonna fill in what I'm given. And then ratios are equivalent through multiplying or dividing, and so we can kind of use those facts to help us. Okay. So from 15 to 5 through multiplying or dividing, that's dividing by 3. So I can apply that same operation and number over here to get from 3/4 to this blank spot. I can use my calculator. 3, click the down arrow, 4ths. This is important. You need to click out of that. Divided by 3 is 1/4. Okay, and then you can apply similar things. Need another color. How about blue? Okay, so from 5 to 10, I'm multiplying by 2. So I can take 1/4 times 2. Is 1/2. And then there's a few different ways you could get to this blank spot by 20. Okay, you could do 5 times 4 is 20, 10 times 2 is 20, either way. Let's just use our base unit of 5. So I need to do this times 4, and then I need to do 1/4 times 4, which is just 1 whole. So it takes him 20 minutes to paddle 1 whole mile. Okay. That says, on the first day of the trip, Robert canoes for 3 hours, and we want to know how far was that. So I can continue this table. Okay, and I want to start by finding out how far he goes in 1 whole hour. There are 60 minutes in an hour. So if I do 20 times 3, that's going to give me 60 minutes, which is 1 hour. So I need to do this times 3. 1 times 3 is 3. So he goes 3 miles in 1 whole hour. And I want to know how much he goes for 3 hours, or how far he goes in 3 hours. So again, I can do times 3. 1 hour times 3 gives me 3 hours. 3 times 3 is 9 miles. So tables can be helpful, kind of like this tape diagram, where I can find the little sections, and I can use multiplying and dividing to find missing amounts. All right, let's talk about some other things that we can do with unit rate. So it says, Ignacio grows daisies and sells them to local florists. Their daisies are grown at a constant rate. So for every 2.5 weeks, the flower grows 4 inches. And we're just going to figure out how much does it grow in 1 week. So I want to find the number of inches per week, which means I'm going to take the number of inches, 4, divided by the number of weeks, 2.5. And I'm just going to use my calculator for that. All right, to do a mixed number like 2.5, I got to be a little fancy. So I'm going to do 4 divided by, and then I'm going to zoom in. Okay, so you see that this one has a unit and then a fraction. So this one, this green one, is going to let me type in a mixed number. Since it's green, I'm going to click the green second button. It's kind of like the shift key. And then that button. So it's going to let me type a 2, arrow over, 1, arrow down to a half, and I click enter. Oops. And then I don't really want to deal with 8/5. We don't think of it as like 8/5 weeks, right? So these arrow buttons let you convert between things. So I'm going to do second, and then this one, it's going to change it to a mixed number, is 1 3/5. And that was inches per week. So every week that flower will grow 1 3/5 inches. All right. We're gonna skip this last one. So it says, Crystal is making her family's famous homemade chocolate chip cookies. Here's the recipe. She made a mistake and added a 1/6 cup of butter, but instead she added a whole cup of butter. So we're gonna use that information to kind of help her fix the recipe and make sure it still turns out okay. So the original recipe, the ratio of butter to sugar, is a 1/6 cup of butter to sugar is 2/3 cup. And we want to know question 6, how can you write an equivalent ratio of butter to sugar for 1 cup of butter? It's saying fix it, right? So I'm going to find the unit rate. So how much sugar per cup of butter? Okay. So I'm going to take the amount of sugar. Let's do it for me. All right, so I'm going to take my ratio, 1/6 to 2/3. She put in 1 whole cup of butter, and we want to know how much sugar should she add? Well, from 1/6 to 1 whole, that is times 6. So if I apply that same thing on this side, it'll give me the equivalent ratio, right? Because I'm doing the same thing. So I'm going to do 2/3 times 6. She needs to add 4 cups of butter or sugar. That's why I labeled it. Okay. So you can use a table, a tape diagram, equivalent ratios, unit rate, so many different things. We're going to apply